signed in, correct?
Yes.
All right, my name is Diane Burgoyne. I'm the acting postmaster of operations, and this is Betty DeLay. She's my assistant here, and she's postmaster of Brooklyn. What is it? Oh, Wellington. Wellington. And she's been to many of these community meetings, so you know she knows what goes on and what we deal with at these meetings. So I'm just going to start off reading a few things about the post office and why we're here today, okay? About 4 weeks ago, the Postal Service sent a letter and a survey for the community to fill out. And we have all the surveys, everybody filled them out. And from those surveys, there were 593 surveys mailed out. And there were approximately almost half, well, 234 responded to the surveys where they were concerned and they wanted to put their input on these surveys. Now, these surveys we look at, we take into consideration what the public wants and what we are willing to offer and what we're going to come up with in terms of how we're going to operate. 91% of the people who filled out the surveys are on our side about changing hours and reducing hours for the post office. We're not looking here to close the post office. We're not going to be closing any postal facilities whatsoever. Okay? We just need to realign the hours of operation in order for us to succeed as a business. Because we don't get any government funds whatsoever from the government. We're sufficiently on our stamp sales, on all of you, buying stamps, mailing packages. We get all that income from all of you. But we're not getting enough revenue for us to survive. That's why we're proposing changing, considering, okay? We didn't change anything. We're considering changing the hours. Right now, the post office hours are 8 to 5, I believe, right? Yeah, 8 to 5 right now. All we're proposing to change right now is 8:30 to...
Not 8 to 5, they close from 1 to 3.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get into the lunch part, okay? Right now, they're open from 8 to 5, and they close for lunch from 1 to 2, okay? And then they open back up at 2, and they close at 5, okay? 5:30?
It's 1 to 3. Is it? 1 to 3. 1 to 3.
Oh, 1 to 3, I'm sorry. 1 to 3, okay?
The lobby stays open on lots of times.
The lobby stays open until 5:30. And I believe the lobby is open at 7:30 right now, okay? So 7:30 to 5:30 for the lobby. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be opening up that, which we want to do, is 8:30 to 5:30 for lobby, okay? The lunch, well, yeah, we're going to do the time lock. We're going to put a time lock in there. You'll be able to get into the lobby on your own. It'll be a keypad, right? Or
Time lock, the time lock will open up at a set time. So if they said open it up at 7:30, it'll automatically open up at 7:30 and then close again at 5:30. So you
Like an
should be able to
automatic
get your mail at the same time you do now.
right. So there won't be any delay.
This doesn't affect anybody that has the mail delivery, right?
Correct, it doesn't affect that. You still have a mail carrier that delivers your mail. The gentleman that came in a little while ago, he's the mail carrier for this town, and he wanted to give his input, and we took his input. I didn't read it yet, but I will read it, and I'll bring it to the higher ups, and they can read it also.
This is essentially only for watchmen.
It's-
It's
Yeah, I mean, it's only for
The window.
the window. That's all it's for.
Window in the
We're going to have less hours for the window. Okay?
Now, this is a
Six
single
hours.
man post office.
Yes, yes, one-man post
But
office.
is it going to be a postmaster, or is it he's going to, whoever going to be
It's
part-time?
called a postmaster relief, a PMR, correct? Or am I missing? Oh, RMPO.
6 hours.
Yes, it's called an RMPO.
We have different
And what does
levels,
that
there's
mean?
2, 4, and 6 hour offices, and depending on what level Depends on what they got. And this is a 6-hour office, so yes, you will have a postmaster here.
Oh, with the official title, postmaster?
Yes, but it'll be a little different. It'll be a 6-hour postmaster.
Instead of an 8-hour postmaster.
Oh, all right.
But it'll still be a postmaster.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, very good.
So it'll go out to bid, you know, and people will be able to apply for it.
Right, yeah. Could you repeat, the lady that's there now told me she's never worked in a post office before.
Right.
Right.
And she's not the postmaster, she's a PSE, we call it, it's clerk, she's clerk.
It's not a career employee.
She's really trying now.
Yeah, she is trying hard, but it's
Is there
not a
such a thing
career.
as career employees
We
left?
do have career employees left, which they will be posting into these positions. And we need to find a lot of positions for people that are looking for jobs and postmaster positions. Yes.
Could you repeat the lobby hours and counter hours?
Lobby hours are 8:30. Oh, that's the window, I'm sorry. You want to know the window or the lobby?
Lobby.
Okay, let me start. Okay, window hours, okay, are 8:30. They will close at 12:30 for lunch, and they will open up at 3 to 5. That's the window hours.
Okay. So the
And the lobby hours?
the counter's going to be closed an extra half hour. Now
Yes.
it's 1 to 3, and it's going to be 12:30 to 3?
Yes.
Yeah, an extra half an hour
An
in the
extra half an
morning,
hour.
and an extra half an hour at lunch.
Okay.
But the lobby will open at 7:30,
Just like
it does now, and will close at 5:30, just like it does now.
Okay.
And that is going to be time locked, right?
Time locked.
Okay.
It'll unlock at 7:30 and will lock back up at 5:30. So if you need to get your mail, make sure you get it
The
before that
only thing
5:30.
is if anything, like we get yellow slips to get things that don't fit in our boxes. And if we get a yellow slip and the counter's closed, we have to come back, right?
Yes.
We have to come back. There'll be no allowances for us to get it.
We do have another option to get parcel lockers.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, they're lockers, maybe, that size, where we could put parcels in there and we'll scan them delivered. And then we'll give you a key and you unlock that locker and you take your package, then you leave the keys back. It doesn't cost anything.
Really?
Not for you, no.
Not for you.
No, for customer.
It costs us a little bit of money to put these parcel lockers into the facilities, but we can always find them.
No, that's a concern, I don't know if they go, if they could put them outside, or where would they put them? I'd
We
have to
don't-
see what.
I mean, we probably don't need a lot.
No, we get it just occasionally, you get a yellow slip, and that's,
But just remember, they're only closed for an extra half hour, so I don't think it's gonna be that much of a harm.
No, I don't.
Right.
All this stuff is just about a half an hour?
Yeah.
Really?
As long as we keep our post office,
Fine.
that's what we
Yeah,
all
it's only a half an hour in the morning, and then you're talking a half an hour extended lunch. So you're talking an hour there.
Now, is this
It's not gonna affect your mail delivery on the
is
street.
this a done deal that we're definitely going to keep our post office?
I'm gonna say, yeah, we're not allowed to close post office through Congress, because of Congress.
Well, then why do we have the auction here and other ones down the bottom?
Oh, these are alternative options, okay? North Granby is 4 miles away, West Granby is 4.7, and Granville is 5. If you want to do business
During lunch?
during lunchtime
Oh, I
where
see.
they're open, you can go there.
I see.
You can go there and do your business.
All right, okay.
The Saturday hours are going to stay the same.
North Granby isn't open.
Yeah. Neither is
North Granby is 4 miles away.
Yeah, but it's
Closed,
not open.
they closed, they're not closed
Not
at
open.
lunchtime. Either one of them.
Well, I don't know what their hours are, but
Yeah, they're
it's just, it's just another,
Option. We'll write that down. But it's another option, another post office.
Who is the post office? We just have a postmaster general, and I know that position doesn't exist any longer. It was a government. But who is it now? Who's the head person of the postal system?
Well, that's out of Washington, that'll be
Pat Donahue.
Pat Donahue.
We still have a postmaster general.
We do still have
Pat
a
Donahue.
Pat Donahue.
and that's a government position, appointed by the president or whoever.
Pointer.
But Board of Governors, Board of Governors,
Who they?
I mean, Board of Postal Governors.
Well, postal, not government, it's all
But it
postal.
used to be government, didn't it? Used to be.
Well, it used to be under the government, but then
Long time ago,
reorganization in the 70s.
before I was hired 25 years ago.
And reorganization in the 70s, we became independent. Independent government, it's like a independent government agency where we're not supported by the government, no tax dollars or anything like that, but we're still government employees.
Given the tax dollars.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, can everybody hear me? I have allergies, so. My name's Bill Gillen, I live here in town with my family. I'm a public servant like you are. I'm a social worker here in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
I have a number of questions. A lot of folks I hear are really concerned here in town about the hours. And one of the questions I have is, if the town right now allows the hours to be changed, if the post office wants to make additional changes to these hours, does the post office have to come in and have another hearing? Or can the post office just make those changes and in some cases close the post office without having a town hearing?
No, we can't close the post office without having a town hearing. There'll always be a town hearing before we do anything whatsoever of that kind.
So if the town agrees right now to the Hobson's choice that has been given them, which is the lesser of all the evils, which if one option that wasn't available to town people was leave the hours, leave staffing just the way it is. But that wasn't an option that was given. It was a Hobson's choice. So the people were sent a survey, and based on that survey, they had to choose the lesser of the evils, so to speak. Even if they wanted to keep the hours open, leave the post office the way it was, they weren't given that option, correct?
Correct.
Why was that?
Because we can't operate on 8-hour a day at that post office. We can't. If you look at the revenue, the customer retail visits alone, at that facility, right? Is that the one? Oh, that's national. All right, so I'll go national. I don't have theirs. I don't have theirs in front of me, but the revenue is dropping tremendously. 1.28 million, 1.21, 1.12 million, and then 0.93
Right, but what you're
in
doing is
2011.
you're giving national stats, but it sounds to me like you're really not prepared to, it just sounds to me like you're not prepared really to present to the town at this time the information the town needs to make a mindful decision. Another question I have is on the bottom of the surveys that the post office sent out, there was a section for comments. And I'm wondering where a compilation of those comments are, because there's nothing given here. But you used a term earlier that 214 people were on your side, but there were a number of respondents that also commented on the bottom, leave the post office open.
Correct,
And I
we
wonder
have those.
Why weren't they included in this survey?
Well, that's no selection made, the no selection made.
Nobody put a selection
If
there.
they didn't put a selection, that
Well, they
was,
didn't check a box, but there was a write-in part on the
yeah,
bottom.
so
And I'm
that's,
asking you where the write-in comments are that the people made.
they are gathered in the marketing department has some.
We have all the surveys and the comments.
But what was the consensus of the comments? The general consensus of the comments? You must have at least 3.
I'm sure it was, no, that they wanted to keep their open office open.
Right.
saying that-
Right, I'm sure there's 3
Should be-
people
should
in
be
the back
documented.
that wants to stay open. I'm sure there are.
The town actually has a
I think Maggie's got a petition, right? Or no, I got it here now. No, we just had a petition to try to keep it open, and I think everybody's got to realize that part of this is a business decision on the post office side. Obviously, they're losing money, we all know they're losing money. The biggest concern I think most people have in town is that we're going to close the post office down entirely in the future, and that's what most people are worried about. We don't want the hours cut, but on the same token, there's not money to keep it open all the time.
You shut down West Hartland's post office. Why would you not do us?
It's a great question, right?
I don't remember anybody asking. I mean, that's West Hartland's hot. we're a town, we're not West Hartland's one town, East Hartland, we're the same. Nobody asked me, or any, I don't bet anybody here, what they should do about West Hartland. Now their mail goes to Colebrook. Riverton, right, you're right. Yeah,
How long ago did that post office close?
just a couple of years ago, just a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Let me know, post office, I don't remember that long ago. They could
Now
not,
it's at Mary Ransom's house.
they
It was
they
there
could not
forever.
discontinue a post office without a very, very long process of meetings, notifications.
We never
So
got
they,
anything.
unless there was something wrong with the building and it was emergency suspension, they have to do emergency.
We're taking
suspension.
all your input. Nothing,
It's an
again,
emergency
nothing is set
suspension.
in stone.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking all your input and we're bringing it back to the area, to the district.
Can we get a copy, or can we get information off that survey, the comments that people actually?
I have to get it from marketing, yeah.
So we can do that then? That's something you can
Oh,
provide?
yeah, I'm gonna put it in writing it down.
Okay. And can we get
I
more?
personally-
I have a question.
I'm not allowed to give any surveys out to anybody's
The
comments. though.
danger of reducing or modifying these hours is going to directly impact your revenue. Your revenue's going to go down. If it goes down to a certain level, then you're going to have to close this post office.
We take that into consideration,
Yeah.
but if you see where we're closing during the lunchtime.
Well,
I
right,
mean,
but I'm thinking after hours. I mean, you know, the post office stayed open until 5:30. Many people work
No,
until
5:00.
5 in the afternoon.
There's not too many post offices that are open after 5 o'clock today, and in the state of Connecticut.
I have two questions. Why is this hearing being held at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
That's when they scheduled it, I
Who's
don't,
they?
the area,
The area what?
the district, Connecticut district, we have an area out of Windsor,
The Connecticut
from the retail
District
department,
Of
the retail department
of the
Postal
of the
post
post office.
office. I mean, it's, we had a town meeting in May in the evening. I think many more residents could have attended then.
We'll take that into consideration for future.
Were we even asked? Was anybody asked? You know, we have choices for when there will be a hearing or
They
when.
posted this in the lobby.
Yeah, well, we know they posted it, but I don't think we were asked whether 1 o'clock was a convenient time.
They're scheduling all.
Maggie, you tried to give the change. I think Maggie did try to change that.
My other question is,
All of them in the afternoon.
my other question is, on this sheet that we're getting here, we have a definition of examples of where a village post office might be located.
Now,
And on the survey, the only option was, and I'm sure we all chuckled, usually at local business,
right,
of which we have none. But
they've
this
been put-
mentions library, town hall, or government centers.
that's an option.
Right, but if there's a need to have these additional annexes in
Yes.
town, then aren't we saying that the hours are needed in this town? There's really, it really speaks to maybe not cutting the hours over at our post office. If what we're being offered in town is annex sites.
But it's-
What we're
it's-
saying is then that there's a need in this town to continue to maintain a number of hours and actually not cut the hours.
My opinion, that there's a good need for village post offices in other areas of the town to make revenue. Because everybody maybe can't come to this end of the town, and they're gonna go to that end of the town, and they'll be making money at that end of the town. You know, even like a Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop has like a little post office, and ShopRite. ShopRite has a little post office.
What happened?
That's the
We
big
say,
thing.
we got just one person at a time talking, we're talking over each other now.
What happens when email each and every larger share, the postal service?
That's where we lost our revenue, was through emails.
Yes, and it's getting bigger and bigger.
Unfortunately, yes, and that's why we're getting more into the parcel business now too, which is helping us earn revenue. Yes, sir.
I realize that both of you are from different parts of the state of Connecticut, but this is a bedroom community. We have no businesses, and if you do not work at the school and you do not work at the town hall, you work out of town. There are no businesses in this town, either on either side of the reservoir. So, just for your information, the option of something else is not pertinent to this town.
Right.
Yes.
I'm not really playing devil's advocate, but I know for myself, and it's for personal reasons too, but I do all my bills through the mail. I receive all my bills, bank accounts and everything else through the mail. I retain a post office box. And as most of you know, my ex-husband and I had a small local business in Granby. And I think it's important that we realize we have to support this, like she said, this is a business at this point. And I don't want the post office hours to change. I work out of town. I need time to do my errands after work and get back here to the post office. But I work in Winstead. I don't go to the Winstead post office because I come back to Hartland to do my business here. And I think we have to support them as well as they supporting us.
Thank you.
I just want to mention that they'll be evaluating if revenue goes up, the business coming in town, new residents, if the carrier gets additional boxes, mail, it could go back up to 8 hours. And they've just reevaluated, and then an office did go back up to 8 hours from a 6-hour office. One of them did.
So we want everyone's revenue, so keep doing your business at the post office.
I have another question too, which Rob explained to me, but I noticed that some of our town mailings, our organizations and stuff are now out of Winstead, and I didn't know that we couldn't do bulk mailings anymore here. Because like I said, we used to do our business bulk mailings here. But that would be revenue to Hartland instead of another post office.
Correct.
Right.
It's because of special training. She doesn't, the carrier, the person here doesn't take specialized training for both.
And it's very in-depth training. They have to go to Oklahoma, and it costs a lot of money to get this type of training. So whoever's
Pay
trained,
off in the long run. Hartland is a unique town. You don't have to come to Hartland unless you live here. This isn't a shortcut to anywhere else here. So we use the post office. And it's important to us to keep, it's part of our identity, is
Right.
the post office.
I think folks are talking about a quality of life
That's right.
concern, and folks are looking to maintain that quality of life. And the fear is...
we all have a quality of life. I work for the Postal Service for 25 years, and so has Betty. And we all work for the Blue Eagle, and we want to keep it that way.
Right, so I hear them, you can respect what people in town are asking for.
Yes, I respect that.
Right.
I know one thing, we travel a little bit, and the postal rates here are a heck of a lot less than they are in Canada. Stuff like that, we don't mail stuff from there. I mean, a regular stamp in Canada is like $1.
$1.10.
So how come ours are...
Lower?
That's why
They're international, we're United States.
I mean, I'm not saying do it.
We get a lot of feedback on that too, about raising rates.
If you increase the postal rate,
Well,
we can make it a lot easier.
we're only allowed to
Instead of
go
one
a certain amount.
Every time you do that, then we hear, I'm gonna
I
stop
know you
mailing,
do, but
I'm
I'm
gonna stop
just-
mailing, I'm gonna stop mailing.
You'll hear that in any business.
But I'm just saying, that's the way it is.
We just raised the rates.
Well, mail is... Jason?
Yes, sir.
Every year I buy a federal duck stamp. I've had to go to Suffield, Granby, and even to Hartford to buy a federal duck stamp. Can't buy a federal duck stamp at our own post office.
Oh,
And that's something,
We'll take care of that, sir,
She
today.
should have that,
She should have those ducks.
yeah, every post office should be having those.
thank you.
If you're missing anything else in this post office, let me know, because we'll get it to you.
That's your
Specific stamp?
$15 per stamp
Yes.
that would help you out.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Is there any way that bulk stamp, that bulk mailing could come back to our post office? Let me tell you why I'm asking you. It's only certain days out of the week, it's 10 to 2. You have to call to make sure that they're there and they're not there during lunch. So for me, I have to leave my office here, go all the way to Winstead when I can, then it's a drop shipment. Then I have to go to Riverton. The problem is Riverton's closed in the afternoon. So then I come here to bring the other one up here, and they're closed. So I have to wait until after 3 or 3:30 to go get back to Riverton to drop that off, and the same thing here. It's all day thing.
How many mailings a week do you do?
I probably do maybe about 4 a year, but there's the fire departments that do bulk mailings, there's the churches that do bulk mailings, the school does it, land trust, and, yep, historical society.
So you got 10?
Maybe so, but we have to go, I mean, you can't bring it down to Riverton because they're closed, and you can't bring it here because they're closed, so you're kind of stuck with your bulk mailing. And you have to do it in the same day.
Yeah, you have to do it the same day, that's,
So you have to see if you
we
can
call
catch
it SNAP
somebody, yeah.
compliance, in my term, you know.
It's
You might not
just very
understand what
hard.
that means, but it's, you know, a compliance issue that we have to
The
do.
question I have,
Stamps
listening to Maggie, is, it seems like since our full-time post officials left, the post office has made some changes over here, and it's having an impact on the town, but I'm not hearing the changes that have been taking place so far are, we're going to call them good changes. It's having a negative impact on town. So what I'm questioning right now myself is, how would agreeing to limiting the hours even more, what's the benefit in this? Because so far what I'm hearing is the changes that have taken place at the post office, it's having a negative impact, either on town services or in some cases, people that live here in town. You're talking about going back and all this information is going to be moved to somebody. My concern is you're going to come back in here, the post office is going to come back in here and say, well, we've made a decision and this is what we're going to do. But I'm not looking for that to happen. If we take the information back to the post office, I'm looking to have another public hearing at a time that our selectmen and women choose so that more people in town can actually attend.
The bulk mail is not affecting just East Hartland. This affected everybody across the street, across the state. Bulk mail was consolidated to Winstead for all the area offices, so every office was affected.
Sounds like there's a problem there.
No, because it had to be because what was happening in the small offices, they weren't handled properly. In the small offices, the bulk mail was.
That's okay, but all the other offices that you have to bring the completed bulk mailing to are closed.
I've made a note of that.
That's a good point, and we're gonna bring that back.
I mean, because you talk about the email, and that's why
I was talking to the
everybody's
Winstead
going to email.
postmaster myself.
Yeah,
Find
everybody's
out what's
going
going on there.
For me to come back here and then get back to Riverton before the post office closes is impossible. Because you can't go there after
Yeah,
it's closed.
technically, bulk mailing is supposed to be open from 9 to 3. I don't know why he's doing 10 to 2. I will definitely.
But don't forget too, once you do the bulk mailing in Winstead, you have to bring it to the post offices. I have to bring one to Riverton, and I have to bring the other ones here, they're both closed. So I have to wait until they open again. It's 20 minutes to Riverton, or better, to go back before 5. So it's kind of.
Closer to half hour.
And that's why everybody goes to emails now, and not the mail.
That's, you have to do it the same day.
Because of that bulk mail issue that they're talking about, the Historical Society now pays the printer an extra fee to do all that running around. We don't do it. He will take care of it for us, so we're paying him an extra fee to deliver all of our mailing to wherever it goes.
I didn't want to bring this up, but
Go ahead.
I'm looking to save you money, and actually, if I want to talk about EDDM mailings, okay? We have I don't know if you're aware of, the post office has, it's called EDDM mailing, okay? It goes by town, and especially for the selectmen. If you have mailings that need to go out, okay, a postcard mailing or a mailing like this, all right, you have a printer, you have your printer, but they only charge so much. To mail it out, it's probably only going to cost you, I'm going to take a guess, not more than 10 cents a piece.
But hey, it doesn't get.
Beyond renting?
It's current resident.
It's current resident. Every customer gets one. But if you want to deal with just a certain area of town, you could just do 10 routes, however, and they're only going to get that mailing.
Quite
The
a
other
bit more.
people won't get it because you don't want them to have it.
That's quite a bit more money though, if you think of what you usually pay for the bulk. We do the drop shipping, so we get the extra.
I'll get you somebody to talk to on that.
I'd like that, since it's paying right now.
Appreciate it.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be cheaper.
I would like to hear.
You don't need no bulk mail count, and it's going to go to current resident. Everyone's going to get one.
So no bulk bill stamp?
No bulk mail stamp,
No fee.
no fee.
You don't pay that fee.
You don't have to pay that bulk mail fee, whatever it is now. I know it's a lot.
So the town gets credit for that?
Yes.
And
And does that apply to the churches as well, and the other?
churches, pizza houses, whatever it is, we'll mail it out for you. You're gonna drop it and we'll mail it that next day. It's gonna go out that next day. And you're almost getting first class rate on a bulk mail.
But drop it here at this post office.
You can drop it right here at this post office if you want it in
That'd be
town.
nice.
Does that include P.O. box holders?
Correct, yep.
I inquired once here, what it would cost if the Hartland Land Trust sent its bulk mailing, which is only so far once a year, from the Hartland Post Office instead of sending it to Brewstead. And I was told it would be an extra $300 for the mailing. So therefore, we got scared and do it. Otherwise, we would have loved to have supported the post office. But she said, for once a year, an extra $300 is probably not worth it.
Right. I'm not aware of that.
To have the stamp would be East Hartland. Right now, it's actually the same thing as the historical site. The printer lets us use his stamp and it goes out to Winstead.
Yeah.
So we don't pay that extra amount. But if it were a bulk mailing from the East Hartland
Yeah,
Post Office,
we'd have to
the
pay,
East
yes.
Hartland stamp, it would be $300.
Yes.
So I don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm talking about, the mailings,
Yeah.
what it is you have a printer that does an indicia on your piece of mail.
Right.
It goes in the corner.
Yeah.
And you can say you want, I don't know, I'm just going to 500 pieces, okay? 500 pieces, you're going to pay for those 500 pieces, okay, through the post office, okay? It's called an EDDM mailing. You're going to pay for it at the counter, whatever it's going to cost. I mean, it's very cheap. It's cheaper than a bulk mail. You don't, and like I said, you don't need an account. And a lot of customers now, especially the political family, they're going that route because it's costing them cheaper to get their stuff across the
Well, because the land trust sends to every property owner,
It's going to be property owner.
it's individual addresses. I mean, some of them go to Texas, some of them go to
Oh,
and then all the people that own, property here in town, so it's an individual.
It's going to be for occupant only,
Oh.
you know what I mean, addressed to the occupant. It's not going to be addressed to the name. Every customer is going to get one. It's going to be a bundle. The carrier is going to get the bundle, or the P.O. box customer is going to get the bundle, they're going to put one in every P.O. box. Or the carrier is going to go out and deliver the mail, he's going to put one in every customer's box out on the road or at their house.
Now, what happens because West Hartland gets their mail through Riverton, so you can't address it to every occupant in Riverton when all you wanted to do is go to West Hartland?
I mean, you have to down.
Zip code.
Right now, it
Zip code.
goes to all the
Hartland has a
box
separate
holders
zip
of people
code.
that live in Riverton, because they will not
Zip code, it goes
differentiate.
zip code by zip
Oh,
code.
it's in the answer my-
Zip code will have to be dropped at that zip code.
Whatever.
That's another question I wanted to ask you about. When we do a town mailing, we do 2 addresses for east, we do 2 addresses for west. But we cannot do box holders separate anymore in Riverton. We must give a copy of our bulk mailing to everybody in Riverton and West Hartland, because they will not differentiate. And let us just give, say, we used to give 60 or so for the box holders that we have out of Riverton. Now we must do them all, which is a couple hundred.
Same as
Did you
food.
call the postmaster of, say, Riverton and say, I want an amount of box holders?
We used to individually write down the box holders of the people that were involved, and we're not allowed to do that anymore. We have to give them sufficient to cover all the boxes that they have, whether they live in West Hartland or not.
That's true. Yep.
Write that down because they should be able to get you the list of the PO boxes.
We used to do that, they won't do it anymore.
They should be able to help you out there. That's in, that's happening in Riverton? or-
That's, well, it's West Hartland residents, post office box, West Hartland residents that go to Riverton. We used to be able to write their individual post office box.
Right.
There were 60, can't do that anymore, so now there's a couple hundred.
Yeah. Yes.
You probably never want to come back here. There's a lot of questions that are floating around right now. Are we
Yeah.
going to have a follow-up meeting to address some of these? How are we going to know the results of this meeting?
Is it
Not
possible?
usually a follow-up meeting that I'm aware of, right, Betty? Not usually,
So am I hearing-
unless there's a need.
So am I hearing, well, I think there's a need, am I hearing then that you made a decision already to do what you want?
No, we did not make a decision yet.
Okay, so I think the town, there are people in town that want to say things, and I think they're entitled really to see the data as the data has been presented. Your data here doesn't include the petition that was signed by people in town. It doesn't include the comment section here. And
Well, we
I
have the
think-
comments.
I'm a public servant. I have a responsibility to people in this state. You're a federal servant. I believe you have the same responsibility to really sort of be front and center with the information so that people can make a mindful decision.
Like I said, we have everyone's comments, we have everybody's surveys. I'm not allowed to give, the surveys out to anybody who, or comments, to let you know what the comments were from other people.
Okay, so what I'm questioning is why are you able then to give out?
We can
the
give you
data?
numbers.
You can give out the data then.
I can give you the numbers, but I'm not going to give you the comments.
Ironically, the data works, as you put it, on your
I'm gonna
side.
describe it.
But what I'm questioning is, what were the comments? Are they actually, to use your terms, on your side? Or was there a number of people that said, no, we don't want the hours changed at all? No, we want it staffed the way it is.
Well, there's 91% that are saying that they don't mind. Not that they don't care, it's not going to affect them drastically.
But again, the post office offered them a Hobson's choice, which was choose the lesser of all the evils. What wasn't offered to them was leave the hours as they are. They have a petition where somebody stood for 4 hours asking people if they would sign this petition. In 4 hours' time, there were a number.
Yeah, we have 193 signatures on this.
Right, and 193, approximately 200 people have said, leave the hours as they are. That data needs to be brought into this picture. What you're telling us is that a decision will be made based on what the town
I will bring
people
this
want.
to the area along with all our other notes.
Are you taping this conversation?
Yes.
It is. It's being recorded.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people who made a comment. I think the reality is, and the post office has made it very clear, there's a cash flow problem. And in order to somewhat resolve that, the issue is we need to reduce the hours. And my comment was, I don't care if you reduce the hours, I just want the damn post office kept open. And I think that's the feeling of most people. Sure, it's ideal to keep the same hours, but it's not reality. And I think, and again, I'm someone who wrote the comment, keep the post office open, I don't care if you reduce the hours. And I don't think I'm the only person
Correct.
that felt that way.
Right. And what I'm saying is all that data needs to be brought to the county so that the people in town can make a mindful decision based on their comments.
Well, they say our post office will stay open, just going to lose about a half an hour here and a half an hour there.
Right, it's going to a 6-hour post office compared to an 8-hour post office.
You don't have
So it's
to
gonna be a
travel
6-hour
hard to get there.
postmaster in that facility, a real postmaster.
The lobby will be open 8 hours.
And the lobby will be open 8 hours.
The lobby's gonna be open 10 hours.
Yeah, 10 hours.
That's a guarantee.
That's a
As long as
guarantee.
the time lock works.
The time lock will work. If it doesn't, I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Yes, you said earlier that if more residents like Sheila asked used the post office, if there were more businesses in town that used mail here, and the revenue went up, that you might reevaluate the hours.
Correct.
Is that kind of reevaluation happen on a regular basis, or is it just as needed?
I believe they would reevaluate in a year, am I mistaken? Or 2 years? Every 2 years, she's saying. I'm thinking 1 year, but.
So if for some reason there was a real spike here in activity,
So within the next
1 or 2
year.
years from now, we might be back here again. Is that what you're saying?
Within the next year, if there's a real spike in the revenue at that facility, yes, they would relook at it again and possibly give more hours, which they have done, like Betty said, they have done it in Depot Station, where is it? Well, 6-7 area, they did do it.
It was 6 hours and it went back to 8.
It's just, redoing things a little bit differently. And if we get the mail flow and, the revenue back up, then we can go back to business as usual.
I think the people of East Hartland have been spoiled for a few years because when our past postmaster just retired, I'm talking about mail that originates at 06027 in East Hartland and is going to stay in East Hartland. We've always had a slot there that you can put it in, that it doesn't have to go to Hartford at night and then come back the next day. Well, as soon as she retired, that slot got covered up. If we're talking piecework here, they're doing the job over here instead of having a machine doing it in Hartford. It just seems very redundant. Leave it here. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to go from one box into the next.
I can get into other things. I don't really want to, because we have auditors coming into facilities, and if they see a letter at a facility, we have testing being done, and that letter should have been delivered today. Technically, that letter should have been delivered today. It wasn't. Why? Because it was misaddressed, okay? We can't keep that letter in our facility because of that purpose, for auditors to come in, and that should have been delivered.
I don't want to get into
Yeah, this is postal. I don't want to really get into that.
But our mail is going to have to for quite a while. That isn't something.
It goes.
When I asked Debbie if I could have the Hartland thing, would you like it?
Yeah, they don't.
She would say, no, we can't do that.
All the mail has to all go to
Go to
Hartford.
Hartford.
To be
This is such a
To
waste.
be automated.
Such a waste.
Where the machine will run it through with a date.
I know what she said, and I believe her, but it just seems, we're pretty, thrifty here, we don't do things like that.
But we got to get into, we're in 2014, and, things changed from, even from when I was delivering mail.
I can't understand, cutting services, how does that affect the money flow? I would think the more hours you're open, the more money you get. That doesn't seem right to me, but I don't understand.
I mean, logically, you cut hours, fewer people will go.
Right.
There's no way that the revenue will increase with the cut hours. The people leaving town for work, or people coming across the street from the school during lunch hour, that it's just logical. There's no way that there will be an increase. It will be a decrease. And hence our concern that we'll have fewer hours in the next 2 years when you reevaluate.
Well, that's offset by a price increase.
There we go. Some of the questions people have, it almost sounds like we don't have the answers. I'm wondering, can we look at having another town meeting, pulling additional data that the town's asking for, and look to have some of the questions answered for people in town? We're talking, it's quality of life here in town. You mentioned earlier, a number of routes in town. We have one route.
Right.
There is no pizza shop in town. There's no stoplight in town. It's the post office. This is horrible.
I'll see if I can set up another meeting at a different time, Okay.
And that might be something that you can work with the selectmen and the select women around, maybe looking to have a meeting in the evening so that the folks that work during the day would be able to attend the meeting.
I'll see if I can set that up.
Do you remember when they had a 2-a-day delivery? They
No,
had-
I have 25 years in, but
I mean, you
I don't
can use
remember
it as a
that.
telephone. You can write a postcard in the morning, you mail it, and in the afternoon, you got an answer.
I started when we had the little Jeep. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
But I just think like
Horse and buggy.
to get our passport. Now, would that be more money to the post office if I just want to get my passport?
Yeah, it's revenue. We're trying to get more post offices to be able to do passports. We are working on that now because it is extra revenue for us. You know, it's $25 a pop for us, that's all revenue. $15 for pictures, that's all revenue. So we are trying to get more offices online with that. Actually, we're working on that now.
Small office to do it, because you come in with a passport, you're monopolizing the employee 20 minutes. She can't wait on anybody else, you're monopolizing the employee for 20 minutes. So it's very tough for small offices to do passports.
But don't we have some part-time help here too besides the one full-time?
You will be.
Have other people?
Just a relief, it'll be when that person's not in, it'll be a relief person.
So there never be more than one person
At a time, no.
I understand.
Yep.
I can tell you, the better the postmaster is, the better service you get, the more business you can do too.
Right.
I mean, that makes a huge
Yes.
difference.
Correct, absolutely, you're right.
And that we've gone to,
I know you had a nice, very good postmaster there for years.
which is,
She was retired, yeah.
which is a concern if you don't have somebody that's really good there, that you won't do as much business. I mean, that's,
Right, you need to
tend
be
to go,
friendly.
you tend to go where the service is the best.
Right. Friendly service is always the best service. Absolutely. Anything else? I'll try and set up another meeting. And if we do, I'll try to set it up in the evening. Okay?
That would be better.
I listened, I heard all your concerns. We have all your responses. We'll look them over. But the revenue just isn't there anymore. And like I said before, we need to survive.
Right.
Just if you were, you had your own business, it's like the other lady there that has a business, she needs to survive too.
Maybe
So
at that
you need to
next-
cut,
maybe
you need
at
to
the
cut corners.
Maybe at the next meeting that we have, if you could bring the revenue pertaining to Hartland.
I will.
That would help maybe a little
Yep,
bit.
I will. Anything else?
How much revenue do you actually need?
How much revenue do we need?
No,
Break
that
even.
post, I mean, like, do you break it down to each individual post office?
The way the 6 hours is determined is based on what the office earns. So it's based on revenue, the number of PO boxes, the volume of mail. It's all taken into consideration what the office, and then it determines whether it's a 6-hour office.
Each sale you do, when the
It's
customer
all,
comes to the counter,
it's
it's a
revenue,
sale.
but also number of PO boxes and mail.
Customer visits.
The number, the carrier, the number of deliveries the carrier has, it's all taken into account.
You all have to rent, you jump.
And you all know that the mail volume has dropped significantly, even last year, this year.
Individual post
It has
offices, or
dropped.
do they group post offices?
Oh, it's all, the individual post offices are all determined. So we have how many PO boxes she has, and, because that 593 that the surveys were mailed out was the total number of PO boxes and the rural delivery, the route number. So that's a total of 593. That's what that is.
That includes the rural.
Rural route and the PO boxes, 593.
I'm kind of surprised that you get a request to have the post office or lobby even open later in the evening for the people that work out. Almost everybody works outside of town by the time we get home.
The mail has to get out,
Mail has
5
to
o'clock,
get to Hartford.
has to get to Hartford for processing. There was no, there's no.
The truck here. Yeah, the truck.
So there was never an option to have it be open later in the
No, no.
That would have been nice to know.
I think it would save some money by having a smaller truck. That truck is enormous that comes up here.
Well, he goes to
Different,
along the way, all
Yeah.
this is along the way.
Winstead all the way down, so.
Because I've seen them come in the morning and it's completely empty.
Yeah, they have big postcards.
It may be the last stop.
Yeah.
Maybe the last stop.
They have a lot.
That they could save their money in town. All of us will have to save money.
Well, yeah.
So if we go forward here, that's the election, we have another meeting in town, we'll need to contact Wade or Maggie, the selectmen.
Yeah, we will contact the select, actually, we will post another sign up at the post office again, saying that we're gonna have another community meeting, and it'll be for a time to be scheduled, so.
We'll contact, well, because I'll want to schedule the room, so we'll be contacted as well.
Okay.
I think his idea is the slippery slope. Like if we give them anything now, they're gonna be back asking for more, is that what you're saying?
That was what was my understanding, right? But maybe coming at another meeting here, we have additional data, and maybe some of these questions could be asked to somebody that maybe is in a position maybe to answer them a little more clearly for folks in town.
Does the post office make much money on the annual issue of stamps?
I mean, commemorate specials?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Not, probably not as much as they used to, but yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people save stamps.
Yeah.
I used to, but
Yeah, a lot of.
every week it's a couple of issues, you know? Can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I have some myself.
Spend more money.
All right, I'm gonna end this for now then. I wanna thank everyone for coming here this afternoon. I hope I was, answered some of the questions and,
We were reassuring.
We'll probably set something up for, within the next few weeks possibly, right? Okay. We'll check the schedules out and see when I can come back out with another date.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I'm the acting postmaster of operations up in Hartford, but my real title is I am the postmaster of Bristol, Connecticut.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.